Hello and welcome to the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series team stream for Apex Racing UK being broadcasted on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Michael Berryman with Chan Wei Han soon to be with us as well, and we are about to get going for the final round of the season. Quick word from you, Marco, just before we get going here. Not a fantastic qualifying for our guys. Pete Berryman, the furthest up driver. What do you think he can do from 6th place on the grid?
It's a very, very tough first corner. Hello, everyone. I think if he's able to get it clean through the first part of the corner and avoid contact, he can do a good job. Let's see what happens.
Yes, it's top 3 are Coanda drivers, and we are about to get going here. Peter Berryman from 6th place, and that's a very nice start for him. Also got Jamie Fluke already making up a position. You can see how Berryman's got a fantastic start, almost looking to the middle, almost going up into 3rd position, and he might be tapped out though, and he is tapped out, and that's going to cause a little bit of damage potentially. What's going on with the other drivers? That's a big impact as well. Berryman dropping places all the while. Kevin S. Jr. is up 1 position, up into 8th. Jamie Fluke up into 9th, up 2 positions, and Antoine Higlin's got a very good start from 16th up into 13th. So not a fantastic start for all our guys, particularly Peter Berryman dropping down to the rear of the field.
Yes, let's see the replay, because it was a case of that first corner, of course, closing down. The track seems so wide, and then it narrows a lot. And that's what happened, sadly. I tried to get a replay as soon as possible because, of course, the event viewer, as you can imagine, Sam, in that first corner goes crazy every time with all the overtakes. Let's see a replay.
That's annoying because there was a superb start from Pete Berryman. You can already see him pulling ahead of the Coanda driver. I think just sticking his nose in there, didn't he? And that was definitely contact. It wasn't netcode. That was firm contact. And yeah, in the end, fell to the rear of the field. Did have a little bit of netcode after that as well.
Let's go live with Peter and see just a little bit in his onboard if he's able to keep it straight, if his steering is right. I think it is, but I also see some damage in the front left of his front wing, so that is going to cost him, of course, in the pit stop. And he's already pitting, so big damage.
Yeah, so that's really costly, and we'll see him have a long pit stop as well. Pete Berryman, a driver who's been so unlucky so far this season, could have won at Monza, could have won at Zandvoort as well, and you can see he's absolutely furious out there. But that doesn't mean that our other drivers aren't doing well there. Kevin S. Jr. In 9th place. I think he lost that position back to Paschalis Gergis. Unfortunately, he's back down into 9th, but you can see how close he is onto the back of the Coanda driver. It's incredible. 6 of the top 8 are Coanda drivers. The other 2 are Burst Esports. Really does show the absolute domination, which has really characterized these past couple of seasons. But Apex Racing UK have certainly done a superb job at trying to stop that. And right now, that is exactly what Kevin S. Jr. and Antoine Higelin, now up to this 10th place, up 6 positions, are trying to stop.
And right now, we welcome back, after a couple of months away from Apex Racing TV, it's Mr. Wei Chen live from Singapore. Hello, man.
Hey guys, yeah, great to be back with you guys again here at Apex. And now I'm back to join you guys on this season finale of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, coming to you from Circuit of the Americas. Of course, like Sam, you've talked about already, Kevin Ellis Jr. still sits behind Paschalis Gergis at P22, and he seems to have quite a tough fight ahead of him.
Jamie Fluke seems to have had a bit of an issue out there. He's down into 17th position. So must have had a bit of an issue either at the start of this lap or the end of the last one, because he was running in the top 12. So yeah, that's not what exactly he needed, but he might be making a move back on Michael Partsington, the Radicals online driver. Not quite there at the moment though. And this is a very unique track, this Circuit of the Americas circuit. That characteristic first corner, it does allow drivers to go for dive bombs. I've seen in real life that elevation change. It's something like, I think it's something like 4 stories high or something, 100 meters tall, that gradient or something. It's absolutely incredible, and that's really Jamie Fluke has got to use that to his advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe so because the way the first corner is designed is perhaps to have a blind apex on entry, and also for sharp cornering radius, such that it's going to because right before there is a quite a long stretch, the main stretch there. So that's something that is supposed to put drivers on their toes. Of course, this circuit itself is not exactly an easy place, an easy track. It's not exactly a track that has corners that flow through one another, but it is a technical one, which means that the drivers have to be extra careful through the different corners.
Absolutely, and this final part of the circuit. Sorry, Marco.
No. You go ahead. I was just only saying a big hello to the viewers, especially Ryan Walker and the one and only Josh Thompson, who's really liking the new livery. And I think we should just a second talk about this because whilst we don't know if there's going to be a change with the car next season, Apex Racing UK decided to just unveil a preview, a sneak peek of the 2019 livery, and I think it looks really cool. Not a big change from last season, but the changes are there. The color scheme is the same, and I really like, if you see on board, every driver has a costume stripe and also in the mirrors. So very good choice. I like especially Jamie Fuchs one. Very minty, I should say, with his bright green.
Yeah, it does certainly look fantastic, this new livery. And yeah, just looking at it right now, yeah, it's absolutely superb. If it wasn't already superb already this season, so it's very good steps forward. Of course, livery is one thing, pace is another thing. I'm sure which one Apex Racing UK would rather have, but yeah, certainly looking absolutely fantastic out there right now.
Looking sharp indeed. Of course, a great party costume to be in, and I'm sure it's going to add hopefully 200 more horsepower to the car.
So sadly, Peter Berryman is out of the race, so that damage proved to be too much for his car. That's a bit sad because, like we said, he had a great start, and it looked poised to gain a lot of positions there. Seemed to me like he only had front wing damage, but apparently I think he had more than that because, he's not one to give up easily. Peter is a very quick driver, one of the best drivers on iRacing. I think he's in the 7th place worldwide for iRating on the road side of things, so he's quick, but that was too much. And so team is down to three cars, and I have to say, Sam, we've seen lately, like the last 3-4 races, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there has always been one or sadly more Apex Racing UK cars involved in a first corner pile-up.
Yeah, I think Antoine had a very struggling first half of the season, I seem to remember. And yeah, since then, I think Jamie got involved in one at Indianapolis, and it just hasn't been absolutely perfect, unfortunately, but that's the way it is, especially when you're starting in the midfield. And Kevin S. Jr. has done very well, though, to keep his nose clean, but still, he is stuck behind Pashless Gergis. And, well, it's a daunting task in front of him, 3 co-and gyros, if he wants to get up into the top 6. But I don't know if you've been following too much of this series, Han, but certainly Verst Esports have become a little bit notorious for their qualifying pace and maybe not quite matching that in the race. And maybe if those drivers hold up the other co-anded drivers, maybe that will give Kevin a better opportunity.
Certainly sounds like so. Are they just newly formed teams that have joined this year?
Yes, I think they formed like January or something. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, very new team.
Oh, that sounds great. Always good to have some, I guess, new blood in the championship. But of course, both drivers, I believe Josh Rogers in particular, I think he has a lot of experience under his belt. So new team, but certainly lots of experience going on there. As we have a look at Kevin Ellis Jr. trying to put a bit of pressure on Pashley's judges as they come across this SS section. Of course, this corner is supposed to be I think a replica of the SS at Suzuka, but with a slight difference in that the corners decrease radius much faster than over at Suzuka.
Yeah, it's like the S curves at Suzuka and Maggots and Beckett's kind of merged into one with its own little twist. This circuit was made just to replicate other sections of other circuits. You can see Kevin SG, at least on my screen, quite a bit of damage. It's not stopping him though from looking for a move on Pash Gergis, and he's getting closer and closer. And usually those Commando drives pretty fast down the straights though, and that could go quite frustrating for Kevin for the next few laps.
I'm seeing a lot of drivers flashing red in the scoring tower. That means they are scoring an off track, and of course an off track is quite easy around here. It's, I think, the second toughest track for off tracks after Spa-Francorchamps. Now, good for these guys. I think they have 40 incident points available, but you know, there's 56 laps, so if I think I've seen every driver blink in red once per lap, so they have to be really careful come the end of the race if they don't want to be disqualified.
Yeah, I can already see Josh Rogers is on 18, according to our system. And our system, it's not the exact iRacing system. It is very harsh on these drivers. Even like there from Kevin S. Jr. Was that no, it wasn't an off track to be fair there. But yeah, it's a little bit harsher. Maybe not quite like iRacing system. But yeah, they certainly do need to watch that, despite those sports laps, like you said, those sports incidents, so like you said, Marco.
Yeah, especially, you know, I think with Josh is the fact that I think if I'm not mistaken, he's from Australia, so his signal, I mean, his positioning might be a little bit off due to the distance, of course, big distance from him and the servers. So I think he has a little bit less, as you see, partially Gergis trying to use all of the track, and you might have noticed, guys, in real life they just put a big sausage curb in the final part of the track to prevent anyone from doing the Verstappen move like it happened last season in this part of the track here. So no more and I mean, can I be honest with you, bluntly honest, why there's all this red stuff? I mean, yeah, it looks cool, it makes a lot of America, yeah, but maybe grass would have been better if you don't want guys to run over it.
Oh, no doubts, yeah. It's quite horrendous with that. And hopefully more circuits in the future will be built. They have said that the new circuits being built around the world will take that into account. They've learnt their lesson, but who knows?
Well, at least it's not another Paul Ricard in front of
Yes. You can hit the walls here.
I mean, Paul Ricard, the section of the S's, as I think all, it's very reminiscent in the off-track area to Paul Ricard. But yes, at the very least, you have, you know, oh, look at Kevin trying for the move. You have the possibility to hit the barriers, which we never wish on the drivers, of course, but you know, it should be always the risk-reward situation of pushing too hard, and that has been a bit lost lately with these you know, modern F1 tracks, or even old tracks that have been upgraded to modern safety standards. Yeah, Paul Ricard is a different story, of course. Paul Ricard, I think, also very, very dangerous because those runoff areas don't do a good job of stopping the cars. So luckily we have all that runoff area, even though it makes for a terrible experience, I think, for the fans. And by watching it on TV, it was really annoying a few months ago when I watched that Grand Prix, because you could get lost. I don't know how the drivers are able to get a reference point in the track.
Yeah, absolutely. That chicane down the back straight, you know, it's you know which one to go for. I think it was something like the third chicane on the left or something.
You need a GPS.
Absolutely insane. Of course, I think they're saying that they're going to get rid of the chicane and just not put a DRS zone down there, which would make so much sense. Hopefully they actually follow through with it. That would be an amazing straight. That's like a mile-long straight. So that would be fantastic.
You know, in other categories, with also, I mean, cars that are less, not as quick as the F1, but you know, still very fast, and with also amateur drivers, gentleman drivers. So, for example, in the Blancpain Endurance Series, they use the entire straight and they also run at night there because it's a very, very long race in the Blancpain Endurance Series, and there are no lights in the Mistral Straight, and still they can use the entirety of the straight. So, I mean, it could be nice if the F1 cars could use that. We see in front of Kevin and Paschalis, there were Tommy Osgard, Marty Pietila, and Josh Rogers all going wide there. So they are racking up quite a lot of off-tracks. There's a big train of cars in front of Pash and Kevin, with Antoine trying to close the gap right behind them. As Jamie Fluke has just made a move. Oh, and he's off. He just made a move on Joao Vaz, and then he went for a spin. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, I didn't see this one initially, but yeah, let's just see if there was a little bit of contact. Well, he's trying to go, yeah, that was contact, and I think that was actually netcode there. We've seen in the past few weeks netcode being a real issue since the most recent update. I think Jamie Fluke was another casualty there to that issue, and maybe we'll make contact anyway, but certainly that's not what he needed. It's been a very frustrating race for him so far.
You know, I thought this was a conspiracy theory until yesterday when I did a Skip Barber race, and I was running at Donington in the Skip Barber race, and you know, after you go beginning of the track, there's a right-hander, then you go down the hill, the other right-hander, beautiful corner, then you pass under the bridge with a fake airplane on top of that, no? And I had an opponent all the way on the inside, and I was all the way to the outside with like the entirety of the track in the middle of the corner, in the middle between us. Two guys from Europe, European server, and all of a sudden I hear a huge bump on my left side, and I end up in the gravel. I watched the replay, and there were 10 feet of netcode basically. And I said, oh, maybe Sam is right. I get a fast repair, come out, run side by side in the first corner with another guy. We both go our separate ways, and then we both explode into opposite directions. Again, watch the replay, and we had contact, but we were so far apart it was almost comical. So yeah, I think there has been some changes with the hitboxes, with the new damage model being gradually implemented. So I think that has to do with that, because I mean, Papyrus Games and now iRacing have been always excellent with their netcode, so there must be something that is changing. And of course, you know, the faster you go, the bigger the effects of the lag, because the simulator has to predict higher speed movements at a higher speed, and this is of course requires more calculations in a very, very short amount of time. So while it's less noticeable in the slower cars, in the F1, the Indy cars, or on the high-speed ovals with NASCAR, it's quite much more noticeable.
Marco, you'll have to be careful though with the word netcode, because I think the iRacing official broadcast not exactly the best word to use to describe that. Hashtag esports network.
We are doing our own rebel broadcast today. We took over from Alex, who is not around, of course, because we secretly stashed him in a room, and we took over the broadcast for the end of the season. So
yeah, I think we have him tied up in a dark room with a gag, just in time for us to cover this one.
of course,
Anyways,
Alex,
they make their way through the corner. Kevin Ellis Jr., Antoine Higelin sitting in 9th and 10th respectively, and they have P8 to make. So yeah, as we've now gone to have a look at Jamie Fluke, who currently sits at P18, I think 7 positions from where he first started at, I think P11. So it sits a fair distance behind behind Hapala, and I think he's been having quite a drive so far.
Yeah, it's going to be a long old, well, how many more laps have we got? What, 44 laps? Oh, well, it'll be fun for Jamie. He's got to think of it as a bit of fun because, well, I think he'll probably be laughing in that cockpit of at how bad this race has gone for him so far after starting in 11th position. Will really be annoyed out there. So as an opportunity to pass a lot of drivers and maybe even a top 10 could still be possible for him. Now, Antoine Higelin, he's behind Kevin Ellis Jr. and Ellis Jr. is very close here, and Ellis Jr. might go for the inside on the car and the driver. There's nearly contact between the two of them. That was very good, to be fair, from Pash Gergis, and for now he holds on to that 8th place. Can Ellis Jr. though put some pressure on in this next section? He can go for a bit of a surprise attack. You can see Gergis just missing the apexes. No doubt that both Ellis Jr. and Higelin are faster than Pash Gergis currently, but it's not enough to make the move.
So Higelin has actually made a 6th position gain from where he started down in P16. So if he's able to carry on this pace, he could find himself well within the top 10. Of course, Higelin now sits in P10, so he has still a large part of the race for him to make his gains. And both himself and Kevin Ellis, they sit at, I think, 0.6 of a second within each other. So it is first for them to make their way past Pash Gergis in front of them.
Yeah, and if you well, there's no team wars in Apex Racing UK. We've certainly learnt that across this season. But would it be better if Antoine got ahead of Kevin and had a go at himself at Pash Gergis? Because maybe Gergis is just wisening up to Ellis's kind of overtaking techniques, and maybe Antoine having a go would be a fresh challenge for him, and maybe Antoine would have a better chance at making the overtake.
So it might be a matter of perhaps Higelin probably helping Kevin Ellis to perhaps create a path through Gergis at P8. That is a matter. As we've just said that, Gergis gone wide off the track, and that is some time lost.
Yeah, crucially, another 1x for him as well. It's going to be fascinating to see. He kind of accumulates those 1x's across 40 of them. That's absolutely insane. That must be special for this circuit. Being such a challenge as it is. But yet, still these cars really close to one another. Still Jensen very much holding up Piatella, Rogers, Oscar, and Gergis. Still giving Ellis Jr. a good chance of staying very close. Still, a top 4 finish, Marco. Very possible for both Ellis and Higelin. But they kind of need to start making some moves very soon, or have a strategic option up their sleeve.
Yes, they really need to do something very quickly, because they have the pace. This track is, it has some passing opportunities, and especially in the final part of the circuit, it is very, very wide, but it's provided to be very, very tough to pass today, especially now with heavier cars and fresher tires. Maybe later in the race, when we see the different strategies and guys maybe have worn tires versus slightly less worn tires, we might see some moves. We see Kevin is trying to make his move. Every time you go for a move and you fail, you have basically to wait a couple of laps in order to get lined up again for a move, and even the classic long straight with tight corner is not helping him right now.
We might have a chance this time, though, and he goes to the outside, Kevin Ellis Jr. Well, in previous attempt, Gergis has run wide there. He didn't give him the option there, did Ellis Jr., being on the outside. But he's really close to this part of the second.
There's a crash.
The traction down. And there's a big crash just ahead. And that is a First Esports car and a Coanda driver. That was Oscard and Rogers going into each other. So that's 2 positions gained. Ellis Jr. and Higelin up into 7th and 8th now.
Let's get the replay because we can. And let's see what happened.
Wow.
Bad luck. Bad luck. It's a strange crash there for the Burst Esports car, and then Tommy had nowhere to go.
Not exactly a nice move, a nice end to the race, as we have a look on board Burst Esports car of Josh Rogers. So as he takes his corner, there he went, losing traction there on the inside, and that Coanda car just had nowhere to go.
So a good gift for our guys, because they all move up a couple of positions. Now Kevin Ellis in 7th, Antoine is in 8th, and Jamie is up to P16.
Yeah, now Ellis Jr. Well, you can see Jensen and Piatella just up the road. Actually, Piatella having a good run. We can't afford to let Coanda have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, can we? We can absolutely not afford that. I think Piatella might just be going for a move on Jensen. No, he's not. So, Ellis Jr., you can see he's got right back onto the back of Gerges all of a sudden. And I expect these two to maybe drag themselves closer to the drivers ahead in the coming laps. We'll have to wait and see. Also, Fluke really close to passing some game.
Yeah, and also a battle in front of him. The Corp and Partington are battling it out. So maybe Jamie can profit from this confrontation. Let's jump on board with him. See, final part of the track. Very, very wide, but it's basically one line through here. So there's not a lot you can do to make a move.
Well, unless you cut the track.
Yes, unless you can. I mean, I would trade an off-track for a pass. So if you don't get a slowdown, it's good. As Omishima is in the pits. Let's see if it's a regular stop or, you know, also Daniel Bida is in the pits. Mishima out after 4 seconds. So a regular stop.
The aero wake there from for Jamie Fluke, which he had to experience it. Really is difficult, and again, just the front of the car not quite gripping. So give credit to Jamie, he's spotting those apexes absolutely superbly. You can see the massive curves on the inside of many of these corners. So if you turn it ever so slightly too early, you smack them, and that can break your front wing completely. But he's absolutely nailing them, which is very impressive considering the aero wake, and also, of course, being a bit blindsided by a car right in front of him. But here we are going into the turn 11 hairpin, I believe it is, and he's putting his nose on the inside. Wasn't a properly committed move though from Jamie Fluke, but still looking very positive from him. At least he hasn't got any visible damage on that car.
As Pietila and Jensen are battling it out, and Jensen goes in the pits, so does Kevin Ellis Jr. Jump quickly on board with him.
Just, I think he locked his tires a bit there, going to the pits.
Yeah, trying to get as many as, you know, as close as the line, as close to the line as they can, without then activating the pit limiter. Very risky strategy, but of course you cannot give away an inch in this championship.
So he's trying to find the exact point where your speed hits.
Oh no, Ellis Jr. is still stationary, I think. He had a longer pit stop. He had an 8.5 second
maybe
pit stop, so
he had front wing damage.
Yeah, so it wasn't a speeding penalty, fortunately. And he is just going to be ahead of Mogar Filo, which I guess is, you know, some comfort to him. But he's got Dion Burgess now between him and Marcus Jensen. So, well, that's a step backwards, unfortunately, for Kevin Ellis Jr. with that longer pit stop.
Yeah, they have to change this. I absolutely... I mean, maybe with new damage model, but who knows when that is coming. But either you increase the penalty for, you know, having a broken front wing, because sometimes we see front wing damage and the car is not affected one bit, or you give the driver the opportunity to refuse the front wing change, because otherwise it's not a good look for iRacing, I think. Either you got damage, or you cannot change, or you refuse to change the front wing, because like this it's quite stupid. I mean, that car didn't have damage because the lap times are great, even when you have that, you know what I mean, that little front wing damage when it is slightly bent. So something has to be done, because you either penalize drivers who keep their car clean, or you penalize the drivers you know, for a pit stop and a change of front wing that they don't need. So
ooh, that was a little bit late into the pit stop from Partington. I think he'll get away with that. Fluke. Now, so most drivers seemingly are going for the two-stopper. What can Jamie Fluke do, maybe? It's difficult to tell. Maybe a one-stopper is possible. But he's still going out there. He would need to get to about lap 25 if he possibly could. Probably lap 23 would be the absolute earliest. As we see Kevin Ellis Jr. behind his own teammate there, Antoine Higelin, and that's due to his longer pit stop. So a change of position between the Apex Racing UK drivers.
Yes, so Antoine is in front, and they are both behind Dion Verger, but he has to pit. So the next car is Marcus Jensen, and you see him here. You can get an idea of the distance between the two drivers, whilst of course the leading
Jensen got overtaken by Piatella, apologies. That could make a bit of a change, but Jensen, yeah.
They are really battling it out, those two, and it's not helping them, of course, because the cars behind are closing on them. As you see, Jamie is the leading Apex car, as all the top guys are now pitting. Kroenke, Bakum, I think De Jong is in as well. Let's see if Gergis is in from P4. He's a little bit behind, so we'll have to wait a bit. He's in the pits as well. Steven Michaels, let's see if he goes on. He's staying out.
I'm pretty sure his maybe Jamie Fluke's teammates, Kevin S. Jr. and Antoine Higelin would quite like him to stay out because he could maybe hold up a couple of drivers. But right now it's Antoine Higelin getting held up, and it's being held up by Dion Verges. And yeah, Verges stays out, so that's a bit of a pain. And will Ellis Jr. try to profit a little bit from this? Higelin goes to the inside, he'll have DRS, and that's an easy move, but he's lost crucial seconds there. And also Ellis Jr. will go through, and there's the co-anda driver of Gergis still ahead of these guys.
Yes, that time they lost behind Verger, and of course the front wing change proved to be costly. All the guys are stopping in the 4-second time, and of course not Kevin, 8 seconds.
Also, of course, not Apex Racing UK driver, but Steven Michaels is currently leading the race. He's not leading the race anymore, he's just been overtaken by Kroenke, but that was quite nice for him to lead one race, one lap, the positive sim racing driver. So if Fluke stays out this time, would that imply, Han, that you think that he's going to do a one-stopper? Like I said, about lap 23, 24 would be when he would pit if he was doing a one-stop. And lap 19 now, if he stays out now, do you think he will be adopting that strategy?
I think the way this circuit is, it is a bit tougher on the tires than usual. So I think drivers want to go for a two-stop, but I'm not too sure if that's what the Apex guys are doing this race. As we've just said that we've
Kevin went by Antoine for P10.
Maybe it looked like a bit of team orders that went on.
I think Antoine realizes that Kevin is faster than him, so he said, I'm not going to impede on your race, on your rhythm, on your speed, and he said, go ahead. I mean, it's the last race of the season, and on the one hand, it's sad because of course we are all racers, we always want to be racing. On the other hand, it's been a very, very tough, long, hard season, so these guys deserve a bit of a break. And, in this final race, I mean, if you just maybe approach it with a little bit of a clearer head, like more calmer demeanor, you have nothing to lose. So maybe this will help. I mean, for example, maybe this is why Jamie is trying for this contrarian strategy. I mean, he has nothing to lose, so I mean I'm still bitter about that crash for Peter in the beginning of the race, because he could have had a very, very good maybe podium or top 5 pace, especially since we know that some of the opponents have a quicker qualifying pace, but then race pace is lacking in comparison to Apex Racing UK's race pace, as Jamie is getting passed by, of course, Pietila, who has already stopped, so much fresher tires, and in a very long track like this, you, Sam, of course, pay the price for having worn tires.
Yeah, definitely, but he is keeping up a decent pace, to be fair. 40.5 on that last lap. The quick guys, low 39s, so he's losing 1.5 seconds a lap, and that's not too bad considering that he's on, you know, about 18 lap older tyres. So if he can keep this pace up for a couple more laps, this could be very positive for Jamie Flick. Unfortunately, though, he's going to be overtaken a few times, and just incidents like that is going to cost him about a second. And, well, is Jamie going to try to fight back here? You may not like Marcus Jensen too much after that little bit of a dive by Jensen. Fluke goes to the outside. Don't think he is going to put up too much of a fight, to be honest. Yeah, he could have gone to the inside there, but instead he's let the Burst Esports driver have that position. But yeah, he's just got to make sure that he doesn't lose too much time. He's got Pash Gergis just behind him, and then will beat the 2 Apex drivers to overtake him as well.
Now we'll see. Of course, we might see Jamie, you know, form some sort of, I wouldn't say a block, but of course he'll try to make life as tough as possible within the rules to Pash in order to help maybe Kevin and Antoine close the gap. I think Mr. Wei Anshan is about to leave us, so I will give him the microphone to say goodbye to us all.
I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, because I have to sort out some last-minute things before I return to my camp tomorrow. But yeah, if I could just stay on for a couple of minutes with you guys.
Man, you can stay as long as you want, so don't worry about that.
Right, looks like what do we call it last time we did this race? Was it a Coenda sandwich? Apex sandwich.
This is an Apex sandwich with a very, very heavy bottom because there's 2 down and 1 up. I mean, of course, Jamie is going to be in a tough situation because, like we said, Pash has got fresher tires. He has the DRS. See how long is he able. Let's bring up the battle box if possible. Here we go. So it's half a second between these two, and Kevin Ellis is right here, so not a lot of distance if Jamie is able to keep Pash behind him, but you know it's going to be very, very tough. You already see Gergis is getting closer and closer. Every corner that goes by, the gap goes down by 1/10. Not only the straight line speed with the DRS, of course, but also the grip in the corners helping Pash Gergis immensely, and he might go for a move here into the first corner.
This should be...
So.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Oh, here he comes. Gergis on the inside through turn 1. I think as we've said earlier, this race, Sam, turn 1 is kind of unique to make overtaking passes there because of the way the corner is. But Gergis has just made it look so easy as he's passed, I think, retaken P8 from Jamie Fluke, just like that.
Yeah, that was very efficient there from Gergis. I think Fluke maybe could have put up a bit more of a fight, but seemingly wasn't too interested in, you know, holding him up to help his teammates. He's got his own race to run, remember, Jamie Fluke. And certainly still a top 10 possible for Jamie out there, and he doesn't really want to lose any more time. Difficult now for Jamie. It might even be worth him coming into the pits because it costs 2 more Apex drivers to get past him. And, well, he doesn't want to lose any more time than necessary, so don't be surprised if we maybe see him come in on this lap for his one and only pit stop.
Yeah, because by the looks of things, I think Jamie Fluke is just one of the 4 or 5 drivers on the grid that has yet to make a pit stop. So it might be now or a couple of laps within this time that he'll make his pit move.
See, coming round the final couple of corners, a double left-hander for Jamie Fluke. He's staying out. You see the drivers that have yet to pit are Michaels, Vaz, Fluke, and Berge, and also Filio, I think. Yes, the drivers that have yet to stop.
There you go, lifting off a little bit there for Fluke. He was straight away up into 8th gear. Need to go and be able to let Anton pass as well. It was a little bit awkward, but they did well there. Well synchronized. And, well, Fluke has maybe lost about a second or so. I think, yeah, Antoine and Kevin have lost very little time. So, yeah, well done to those guys now, and a good opportunity to get a nice little photo for the preview of next year's Libya.
Very much so. So now it is Kevin Ellis Jr. leading this Apex pack of 3 positions, 9, 10, and 11. And just in front of them is, of the 8 cars in front of them, 5 are co-ender.
Of course, the 2 other drivers in front of these guys who have yet to pit are Michaels, Vaz, and yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's just Michaels and Vaz. Yes. So as long as Fluke kind of keeps up with those guys, he'll be doing a good job. How far is he behind Vaz? Currently about 5 seconds. So not too bad, and then behind Michaels about 9 seconds. So those are the 2 guys he's fighting, along with the likes of maybe Oscar and Rogers as well. Later on, we'll have to wait and see in terms of that. But still, Fluke seems to stay out, and yeah, we're desperately trying to get to seemingly about the halfway mark. This is very much pit territory now for those one-stoppers.
I think it is. They are all staying out. The guys in front. Let's see the guys behind. I think they are all staying out as well. So, I mean, of course, if you have a little longer second stint, it's not a problem if you do only 1 stop, because the car is going to be lighter, because there will be less fuel on board. So you can get away with a 25 lap first stint and then a 26 lap second stint, I think. No, I'm terrible with maths. It's around 30 laps of second stint. I'm sorry. No,
29,
man.
wouldn't it? 25 and 29, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A-level maths there for you, eh?
Oh man, I was terrible. And I'm still terrible. So.
Well,
yeah.
just realised it's not 25 and 29. It's 25 and 31.
Oh, okay, let's change topic. I think.
Yes.
And let's. But I think is the only topic possible right now, because all the 3 guys are running basically nose to tail. Of course, Jamie is 1 car. Jamie is lagging a little bit behind because of the situation we just talked about right now. You want to maximize, of course, if you do a 1-stopper, you want to maximize your time on fresh tires, and if you, I mean, you don't want to pit close to when the guys in front do their second stop, otherwise it would be pointless. You lose a lot of time, and then you have to basically have the same tires as them. So he's falling a bit as Bass pits right now. So another one of the, and Verger as well is in, the teammates of course. So Jamie now is behind Michaels, the only other guy in front of him who has yet to pit.
Yeah, and that gap just going up to 10 seconds. Michaels, well done to him, by the way. Full credit to Stephen. He led 1 lap. Well, I say 1 lap. It was half a lap, I think. But well done to him. And he's still, yeah, 10 seconds ahead of Jamie Fluke. And yeah, doing well. Currently holding off Marcus Jensen, and it's still got very strong lap times, which could be a little bit awkward for Ellis Jr. and Higelin potentially by the end of the race. Maybe Michaels will be able to find himself in this battle even. He's got that good pace currently. But I'm just making their way towards the drivers ahead on that last lap. Ellis Jr. was 1/4 of a second faster than Paschalis Gergis, and a little bit faster than Michael Jensen as well. A little bit faster than Marty Piatella as well. So still a long way to go in this one. It's just about making laps at this point, saving the tyres well. And we know that is a strength of the Apex Racing UK drivers. Certainly got to be thinking about the strategy at this point in the race.
Yeah, I think now for real, I think Weian is about to leave us for the night. Am I right?
Yeah, unfortunately so, man. Thank you guys for a great night of. Even it's just been half the race. I enjoyed it, and yeah, guys, thank you for the night of commentary, and all the best to you guys and the Apex guys.
Yeah, thank you, man. Come back soon. We wait for you. So, Sam, it's me and you, once again, as we have done a lot lately. Of course, no Euro V8s tonight for us, but it will be next week, and it's going to be a very unique race, of course, endurance race at Bathurst. So, classic track for maybe the perfect track for those cars. So don't miss on Apex Racing TV next week at 18 GMT. You have the Europe Gates from Bathurst, and tomorrow, of course, at the same time as this one at 12 GMT. No, sorry, it's at 12 GMT. We have the iRacing Championship Series, also from Circuit of the Americas, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have later on Sunday night the BSRC Immortal Porsche Cup at 19 GMT in that one. So, as per usual, a very busy end of the week on Apex Racing TV. So don't miss those. And then next week we start again with the BSR MX-5 Cup. We have the Le Mans Series on Wednesday. On Thursday, the beginning of the showdown on the BSRTC. I think that race is going to be on the iRacing Esports Network, but more on that later. Of course, we had our debut on the iRacing Esports Network earlier this week, even though I would like to forget about that race 4 in the BSR MX-5 Cup. But certain...
It was good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. 11 in race 3, yeah, but then race 4 I wiped out half the field, so... Let's say it were 3 fantastic races and rather forgettable for the, but it was a great show, a lot of spectators, and I think it was a very odd car and track combination, but people seemed to like it. The drivers didn't like that as much, but the fan liked it, and when the people watching like that, it's always a good thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly do subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network. Also, stay subscribed to us as well, of course, and because many of our races, I don't think we'll be broadcasting on Apex Racing TV as well, whilst we're broadcasting the iRacing Esports Network. But of course, we will be doing plenty of stuff still on Apex Racing TV. And also, like our Facebook page, we've got some extra stuff on there with like highlights and whatnot. So certainly, give our page a like. We'd certainly appreciate it. But for now, Kevin S. Jr. now 2 seconds behind Pashas Gergis, but he is closing in on Marcus Jensen as well currently. It's very much a 4-way battle for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, with Tommy Oscar 9 seconds behind. And I didn't actually realise that Jamie Fluke came into the pits, but he has come into the pits, and he's in front of Paul Elbing down in 16th position. But remember, he does not need to pit again in this race. And I think, Marco, with the pace that he and Baz and Michael's managed to keep up, I think that one stopper could work really well for him.
Yes, and he also already gained 1 position because I think Ikapala had a problem. So he went wide.
Oh no, sorry, I thought he was disqualified there.
He has jumped to the pits, so something must have happened, but certainly not for this. Let's see. All seems fine here, so maybe a crash here in the final part of the track. I have no idea because all seems to be good. All seems to be fine as well here. What happened? A crash in the final corner? No. So let's see. Maybe we went too far back. Okay, this is I think later in the next lap. Oh, here we go.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
A nice pirouette. And out of the race.
So Jamie now is in P16. He's trying to catch Joao Vaz in front of him. They stopped 1 lap apart from each other. In front of them, David Decorp. He stopped on lap 16. So they have a 10 lap advantage over David Decorp. So they push hard. I think they can gain positions over him. I think over also over Michael Partington. We'll see.
Yeah, and also Umeshima, Michaels might be an opportunity. I wouldn't even, rule them out of maybe a fight with Oscar and Rogers by the end of this race, because those two came together earlier on. So
yeah, I think they have damage. So I think also they will have to stop again.
Oh yeah,
because
definitely.
they stopped very early.
Yeah, all the drivers who pitted kind of prior lap 24 will certainly be pitting again. This gap staying relatively static. That last lap, Piatella 39.2, Jensen 39.3, Gerges 39.3, Ellis Jr. 39.3, and Antoine Higelin 39.7. And then Tommy Osgaard, if he does have damage, he's doing very well currently, because he's also just done a 39.3 as well. But Higelin just following his teammate at the moment. Is he being bottled up, you think, Marco, behind Ellis Jr.? Because Higelin seems to be comfortably keeping up with his teammate. I just feel as though maybe he should be given an opportunity to get ahead, and maybe it was the incorrect decision earlier on to swap them round just after their first pit stop.
I mean, yeah, it's always a bit of a problem when you have two cars on the same strategy running with similar lap times, because you get close, you then have problems getting closer and closer, and sometimes unless your teammate lets you through, it's tough to make a move. But then when you reverse the positions, you are in the exact same situation. So I don't know if Antoine has the pace to run away from Kevin. I think they have, I think the car have basically the same setup, and I think they are driving at a similar pace. So I really don't know. It's always a tough decision to make, and you never want to give team orders. I think that Antoine went out of the way on his own earlier. So I honestly don't know what I would do in this situation. I would keep the things as they are, but because I don't think there's going to be a big change if you swap Kevin and Antoine around. But still, always a tough predicament when you are behind the controls and trying to, make decisions in a World Championship race. As right now we are getting closer and closer to the halfway mark of this race. Oh no, we are way past the halfway mark. Oh man, I should stop talking about that. I'm sorry.
Well, we're not miles past. Oh, we're only 3 laps after the halfway mark. It's not that bad.
I mean, I want to go back at making courses, not showing my terrible math skill on YouTube worldwide.
Maybe I can make a compilation of our bad maths.
I mean,
certainly strategy wouldn't be a bad idea. We're not exactly superb at that.
I remembered one of the first things you said to me when we did the first broadcast back in the battles with the V8s, if you remember that. You said that wrong strategy predictions are a part of the broadcast package. So, I mean, I take incredible pride in making wrong strategy predictions.
And you should, certainly. It wouldn't be Apex Racing TV without it. To be fair, today, I will say, I half called that Jamie Fluke one, didn't I, with the one-stopper. So I'll take a bit of credit for that. I think we've got better, seemingly.
Yes.
And there he is. He's quite a bit behind his teammates still. He is, well, he's 34 seconds behind Kevin S. Jr. And, well, he's only got one, he hasn't got any more pit stops to go. What are his lap times like? 39.3. Certainly still pacing himself. He's got similar lap times to the two other Apex Racing UK drivers who are still running out there still. So yeah, seemingly just pacing himself, not taking the life out of those new tyres. Unfortunately for him, a little bit of clear air as well. He'll be trying to close the gap to Yao Baz in the near future.
It would be good if we had some kind of, I really would like for iRacing to give the lifetime incident count not only to the race admins but also to the spectators, because that would make our life much easier. Because for the people that don't know this, we don't have easy access to it. We only know this after the race. So for example, we can get live incident tracking during the iRacing Championship Series because we are talking live with stewards. But since this series doesn't have live stewarding, and this has been a point of contention throughout the season, we have to guess. And right now I see Josh Rogers, like I said, the guy from Down Under, with 83 incident points, which I think is a little bit unrealistic. That, of course, like I said, is because of his connection. That, of course, has to travel a long way. So, since I think, Sam, our system uses GPS tracking, well, of course, when you are miles, thousands of miles away from the server, your position tracking can be a little bit iffy sometimes, especially for a very, very harsh penalty system as the one we have on our live timing software, which is much worse, I mean, much more severe than the iRacing one.
Yeah, I think this race has certainly proved that maybe that's yeah, maybe kind of high ping drivers struggle a little bit with this system. Fortunately, iRacing don't use that system. It's all local. And well, Antoine Higelin, you can see that maybe just running off the circuit. It's so difficult to tell around this circuit as well, because in some parts of the circuit you can go all four wheels off the circuit, and in other parts you can dip a wheel onto the artificial grass, and that can get you a 1x as well. So very difficult for us to kind of call who's picking up lots of incidents, but certainly from what I've seen, at least, certainly Kevin S. Jr. Has been one of the cleaner drivers out there, mainly keeping it between the lines. You can see that kind of end part of the S's section there, just rounding. Now you can easily pick up a 1x round here. Still the gaps just not changing. Gerg is catching up to Jensen, to be fair, and also Piatella's not pulling away either. But Higelin now getting closer and closer and closer. And well, big questions have got to be asked now. Do they change these two rounds? Let Higelin have a shot at Gergis up ahead.
See the delta right now. You see on the right side of your screen the gap between Kevin Ellis Jr. and Antoine Higelin, and it is as close as it has ever been. 0.3 of a second, going going low, getting closer and closer. These two guys lap after lap, more or less, even though last lap I think Antoine had a little bit of a slower lap. Of course, he's also in the wake, but I think he will go for a move. Maybe with Kevin will give him back the favor for letting him by earlier.
Yeah, I think that might be the case.
Won't happen in the first corner. Let's see if it happens on the backstretch. Of course, it's very, very difficult to make a move here, but also very, very difficult in this section here to let somebody by. So they are, of course, not doing it there. And of course, this is not about team orders, I think, Sam. It's just a matter of racing with your head, you know. There's no point in holding a teammate that's faster than you. And but, you know, maybe they are on the radio, and maybe Antoine is saying, you know, you keep going in front of me. So, well, we don't know for sure. Let's see what happens here on the backstretch. Very, very undulating backstretch, and not at all straight. But of course, for these cars it is a straight. For every car it's a straight, I think. Oh, very, very close there is Antoine to the back end of Kevin's car. Maybe not. Maybe no. It is going to be game on between these two. You know what? It's the final race of the season. Let them have it. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely. Neither of these guys need the points in the championship. I think Kevin, is he going to be able to get Peter? I'm not sure. I will just check the standings. I think he was 50 points behind going into this round. I think he therefore, or into the pits comes Kevin SG and say, maybe that's some kind of swap. And, well, this is the undercut then. So he felt like he needed to do something there, Kevin SG. And he did still have really good pace, despite maybe those tyres going off seemingly. And, well, yeah, Kevin S. Jr. into the pits now, and we'll see where he comes out. Also, Josh Rogers and Tommy Osgard coming into the pits as well. And I think this is good, Mark. I don't think there was going to be much of a chance of Kevin attacking the drivers ahead if he stayed out for many laps longer, and instead he's going to get a bit of a fresh air here and maybe could pull off the undercut.
And I think that is also why Antoine didn't let him by, because it would have made no sense, because Kevin then pitted just at the end of that same lap, so they would have lost time. So it was better to do it like this. Quick stop for Kevin, 4.6 seconds. So no penalties, no front wing changes, and now he has to push very, very hard. He's got 20 laps, and this time the math is of course very, very right. He needs to push very hard. Let's see if Antoine responds immediately. He's in the final section of the circuit, so going to the 90-degree corners.
Well, I think the big question is, do Jensen and Gergis respond? Because Gergis was about 2 seconds clear of Ellis Jr. when he came into the pits, and Jensen's in, and Gergis is in as well, and Antoine Higelin is in. So they've all gone for very similar strategies out there. So, well, Ellis Jr. would have had to put in an absolute storming outlap if he's going to be close to Pash Gergis when the Commander driver comes out of the pits.
Well, Kevin had his personal best in the second sector, 21.5, then pedestrian third sector. Let's see, he's on the final straight. Let's see where these other guys are. They are all coming out of the pit, so this is going to be very, very close.
Really close. He may have just got Pash Gergis there, Kevin Jr. No, he hasn't, but they're going to be side by side. This is absolutely crucial. Ellis Jr. around the outside through turn 2. He's going to have the inside for turn 3, and that is a superb strategic call there for Apex Racing UK, because Kevin Ellis Jr. has found himself ahead of Pash Gergis after 37 laps of racing.
Fantastic move. He also jumped Antoine. He's here, right behind Pash. So, good strategy call there, and Kevin is in P8. Let's see if he's able to pull away, as the leaders are also in. So, Bakum and Kroenke. He's able to pull away from Gergis and maybe then get Antoine back into this battle, and maybe Antoine can get one more position. Let's watch it again. I think we can get the onboard for the overtake. So you go on the front straight, of course this goes up. It's very tough to look into the pit lane, of course. I think his spotter was on the radio, and here you go, you see the cars on the left. It's very tempting to go through this corner. Look at that. Oh, that was so close, Sam. Very brave driving from both of these guys, and that was a very good move from Kevin in the end.
What is it, Jamie, who runs on a single monitor, I think, there? But if there's ever a use of 3 monitors, that was the exact moment, because Kevin S. Jr. knew exactly where the Kwanzaa driver was on the inside, and he could afford to take a slightly different line, get the cutback, and get that 7th position, as it is at the moment. That will turn into 6th once Stephen Michaels comes into the pits. Also, Jamie Fluke got ahead of... Who did he just pass? I think he passed the driver who just came into the pits. I think it was like Burgess or someone. Of course, Fluke doesn't need to pit again, and he's currently ahead of Josh Rogers, which will be interesting to see if he defends against Rogers. Also, Ostgaard as well. So, oh, this will be interesting. If you were Jamie in this situation, Mark, I've seen that's been quite difficult to overtake so far. Would you put up a fight, or would you just let them go, seeing that the likes of Umashima could also catch him by the end of the race?
You know, I always use this mentality. The mentality is, I know that the guy behind me has a different strategy, he's faster, and he's got better tires, so by all rights he should have the position, because I don't have the possibility to hold him up or try to defend. But what I do is I defend. And then if he passes me, okay, but if I can force him into making a mistake, that's all the better for me, of course. So defending within the rules, I think, don't want to destroy your race or your opponent race, so don't do crazy stuff like last second blocking and things like that. But after that, if you can force your opponent into a mistake, it's all the better for you. You have nothing to lose, basically. Yeah, you lose the position, of course, but you know that this guy is going to get the position regardless because of what I said, you know, fresher tires and all that stuff. So we'll see how Jamie approaches this, and of course I was about to say also the proof that you can be competitive also with a limited setup, I mean of a hardware setup. If I'm not mistaken, I think Tyler Hudson won the NASCAR Peak Anti-Freeze Series with a single monitor and an office chair with wheels. So whilst you know, all the fantastic stuff from the high-end hardware manufacturer is fantastic, and I would love to have a nice you know, rig with a direct drive wheel. I still drive with my office chair with wheels and a single monitor, with a second only for broadcasting purposes, so one day even I can dream of becoming a NASCAR champion. And here comes the move from Rogers on the inside. Should be done before the braking zone, and that's the case. So no chances for Jamie down to P12. Rogers, of course, 2 stopping, fresher tires, and he was able to make the move. As Antoine is lapping 38.3, George is 38.6 in his last lap, so he's closing. Let's see this lap, but now they are all 3 of them are in the battle box, so the gaps are nicely presenting themselves for Antoine, because he's getting closer and closer to Pash. Let's see this lap around. 38.3 for Pash, 37.9, so Antoine is really pushing hard.
Absolutely, and also getting very interesting, Michaels is holding up Piatella. So Piatella, who was some 3 seconds clear of Jensen at one point, well, he's not 3 seconds clear anymore, it's less than a second between the 2 of them. So Michaels holding up Piatella. We could have a proper 5-way scrap seemingly. You can see Antoine Higelin at the back of this little train, and all the drivers just ahead. I think Piatella should get Michaels down into the hairpin, but that could be an opportunity for Ellis Jr. as well, because these guys have all got to pass Michaels. Remember, Michaels doesn't need to pit again, and yeah, that could be quite awkward for these drivers, and how they deal with that could open up some opportunities. Or keep an eye out on that, because Jensen still just ahead of so Jensen half a second behind Michaels at the moment. Will he lose much time to the likes of Ellis Jr.? But yeah, you're absolutely right about Higelin. He did just set a purple first sector as well, the fastest first sector of anyone. And a driver who's been stuck in traffic for pretty much the entire race would quite like to make a move in the very near future.
Yes, it's the second lap in a row that he had a purple first sector, so you know he's pushing extremely hard, and you saw from the onboard we are getting from Antoine's car that Pash is pushing hard as well, because he went wide there at the second to last corner, so he's feeding the pressure from Antoine. He gets another fantastic lap, his personal best, so that 37 he made before was probably done with an off track, so it doesn't count for statistical purposes, but now he has his personal best. 38.1, it was a 38.4 for Gergis and 38.3 for Kevin Ellis Jr. So clearly now, despite being in the traffic of 2 cars in front of him, Antoine is the faster guy, and of course see there Steven Michaels getting passed by Jensen. They are all together, you see in the right side the battle box from Pietila to Higelin. They are all within a think couple of seconds more or less, so 1.5 seconds, that's the battle box margin for being included in there. So, and you can see right now from Antoine's on board there's quite a nice train in front of him.
Oh, Ellis Jr.'s gone for the inside on Michaels, and that's a superb move there from Kevin Ellis Jr. That was very nicely done. Michaels keeping his nose in there. There's not really too much point in him doing that, so maybe costs Ellis Jr. a tenth or two, but that is really important actually from Ellis Jr. And that means that he very much keeps Marcus Jensen in his sights. And here it was. Well, I think when we first came here in real life and on sim racing as well, we saw a lot of moves like this, but it's very much a corner where drivers have wisened up to it, but Michaels there was not going to defend. And S Jr. do almost a little bit of contact there. And what can Fluke, Higelin do to Gergis here? Because Gergis did not get a great exit, can just about make his way through. Higelin did well in the end.
Move!
There was nearly contact between the two of them, but that was very nicely done there from Antoine Higelin.
Fantastic pass. That was so brave. That was seconds from, well, let's say centimeters from contact. Let's see. I want to see it from the gearbox camera, because, I mean, there was not much in it. Let's watch it again. Oh, it seemed closer from the camera that we had, but still, I think that Antoine was very, very brave to make a move from there. And let's be honest, Sam, he had to do it, because you don't look at just the time he lost just by making that move and finding himself behind Steven in a tough track position, while you know, Paschalis had already made his move. So that was a key moment for Antoine's race. Very, very brave, a great move, and is still in the hunt for a possible top 5.
Yeah, still very much possible for him. And this is a proper four-way battle. Piatella's just gapped these guys a little bit. He's 1.7 seconds up the road, but you can see how close Kevin S. Jr. is now to the back of Marcus Jensen. The gap, 0.6 of a second. This one, after being a bit of a slow burner for about 35 laps since the second round of pit stops, it has really ignited. And S. Jr. is getting closer and closer to that Burst Esports car. Remember, one lap hold of tyres for Kevin S. Jr., so he's not going to have an advantage in that case. But that's not going to stop him from giving it his absolute all. And Higelin, well, you can see how feisty he is at the wheel at the moment. He's giving it absolutely everything. It's not been a superb season for Higelin. I think he's been podiumless, unfortunately, unlike last season where he picked up, I think, a podium Road America, I think it was, and maybe one other track as well. But today, I think, Mark, this has been one of his best performances all season.
Yes, absolutely. He's having a fantastic race. He had a tough season, but now he is giving his all, like always, and especially for this. You want to end on a high, let's be honest. You want to go into the winter break with a good result. These drivers are trying to do their best. Who's driving for a championship, who's driving for a placement in the top 5 in the championship, who's just driving for his pride. And you can see, look at that, Antoine is extremely close to the back end of Paschalis Georgi's car. It doesn't go for the move here, but you can see, I think it's a matter of time. You have to get a good exit and maybe try to get a run on the inside of the first corner. So inviting, of course. In front of them, quick look at Kevin on board, trying to catch up Marcus Jensen. So they are the apex guys, two front apex guys are extremely close to each other. They are also both involved in a battle, and in a sense they are also fighting among themselves to get that maybe 5th position, whilst Jamie is in P14 right now. A little bit of a break then from Pash in the final part of the lap. He was able to pull away, so let's switch quickly the focus to Kevin, of course trying to follow, get a good exit. But you see now, you see in those S's, Antoine has a fantastic drive, great grip from his car, and look at the gap that goes down immediately.
Oh, a little bit sideways there for Higelin, and he's a bit wide. Going to lose himself a bit of time. As long as he stays within DRS range there, he's going to be able to close that gap back up. You can see how he uses that DRS, and will gain a couple of tenths down this straight. Also, of course, Jamie Fluke out there. He's down into 14th position, though. He's been overtaken by Kazuki Umeshima. Behind there, 13 seconds back to Dion Burgess, so he should be okay in that 14th position. May even be able to challenge the Alpha as Baz really struggles with his stars later on. But Jamie just struggling for pace out there, unfortunately, today, after that really struggling start as well. Maybe that one stopper wasn't the best idea, but I think it's not going to make too much of a change to his finishing position.
Ooh, look at that. Gerg is completely wide there. Huh?
Oh, he's
It's
lost a
not
little
the
bit of
first
time, hasn't he?
Yeah. It's not the first time that he does that in this race, that particular corner. I mean,
Oh.
that scoring tower looks like a traffic light with all the red lights popping on every 2 seconds. As Rogers got by Buzz for the 10th position. Yeah, Antoine really likes, I think, this SS section. He has a setup that really suits that kind of, you know, that sequence of corners really well.
Yeah, I think all of them, to be fair, have been really good through those S's today. If anything, it's maybe just been this straight line speed. Because we've seen earlier on with Ellis Jr. just not being able to make the move on Gergis. And, well, Kawanda always run quite low trim, especially in comparison to Redline. I think Redline run the highest downforce of anyone. But Apex usually pretty low trim as well. Certainly at Imola, we were really benefiting from that, with Peter Berryman being able to defend for 90% of the race with very good straight line speed. But today, just seems as though maybe they haven't gone that way with the setup, and whilst maybe improving their overall pace, overtaking has been that little bit more difficult. And of course, you need all the help you can get against such quality opposition. Genius still 6/10 behind. He's not getting much closer coming out of that final corner. But the only thing he can really do now is just to keep that pressure on. You know, maybe hope that there's fuel issues for Jensen or something. Maybe his tyres go off, because there's not much more he can do at this point in the race.
Exactly. With 10 laps to go, it should be, you know, a matter of getting your move done. There's not much else you can hope for. And the charge that Antoine was having towards the back of Pashari's car seems to have cooled down a bit. You know, you make a couple of mistakes, you lock the brakes, you go a little bit too deep in the braking zone, you slide your car. These tires are really sensitive to that kind of behavior, and it's then very, very tough to get them back to a, you know, normal operating conditions. As Kevin is getting closer and closer with the help of DRS to the back of Marcus Jensen's car. Still not able to make a move, but he's never been this close, I think.
Yeah, this is, he got to within about 0.3 of a second. Likes to take quite an arcing line there as Genian. You can see how close he is. In previous laps, he's been about 0.6 of a second behind coming out of the final corner. And he hasn't exactly made mistakes through this part of the circuit. We can see how difficult it is to follow. He almost just needs to voluntarily pick up a 1x coming out of that penultimate corner just to gain that extra 10. How far is he behind this one? Only 0.4 of a second. And we've already talked about how big the braking zone is into this first corner. Kevin Ellis Jr. in the fight for 5th position. Will he look to the inside? Well, he didn't fancy it that time, Marco, but I think if he gets another chance, I think that's going to be as close as it gets, as Ellis Jr. hangs onto the car brilliantly. Is he going to be able to hang on to the position? Yes, he is. But wow, that was very nearly a fatal incident there.
I mean, that was very, very risky, and now, of course, he's going to be in trouble with his tires, and you can see, thanks to the mistake, Pasharis Gergis has closed down on him. He is extremely close into getting into, no, well, more than, he is well inside the DRS range, and that will provide to be a problem also for Antoine as well. Let's see if Kevin is able to get his tires back to, you know, normal operating temperature, because otherwise he's going to be in for a very, very tough final 9 laps.
Very helpful DRS there down that straight. But yeah, those tires absolutely crucial. Through this part of the circuit, you need all the traction you can possibly get. And I just wonder, is that going to cost him a bit? Maybe that was his chance gone. A little bit of a lock-up just ahead. That might even be for a back marker. Or maybe was for Martin Piatella. But Ellis Jr., to give credit to him, he's maintaining that gap now to Jensen. And if he can just get within DRS down this pit straight, he might be able to drag himself closer once again. But that momentum that he seemed to be gaining has very much been lost now. And yeah, like he said before, Michael, he's got to be careful from Pash Gergis behind.
Lap 48 right now, 56 scheduled laps. We are getting closer to the 1 hour and 20 minute mark. Of course, all the races in this championship are scheduled to go for the full distance of a real life Grand Prix, which is of course to be expected since this is the World Championship in iRacing. And you know, let's just use this moment as Antoine is getting closer and closer to talk about this. This race might be the end of an era, Sam, because next season, due to official iRacing wording, bigger prize pool, and they said, staff members said, possibly even a new car. And with the Pro Series scheduled for the next few months, an announcement is due in the next few days, I think. We might get some news about possible replacement for this car. Of course, it's all up in the air. We don't know anything. There has been wild speculation. So what do you think about this? You think this is the final race we see with this car in the World Championship?
It's difficult to tell. Just to, you know, dampen expectations, it's not going to be a new F1 car. That's almost certain. It's probably going to be the IR18 or this next season, I guess. And, well, it's a difficult decision. Of course, 2010 we used the IndyCar, obviously. I think that was quite a good season. I don't know. I was about to say I wasn't born then. I was certainly born back then, but I wasn't into iRacing, that's for certain. And yeah, so maybe change to the IndyCar. It would be a fantastic reshuffle, wouldn't it? If we changed cars, that would be absolutely superb. Really, you know, would be a great opportunity for Apex Racing UK and an opportunity to maybe fall down the order because they've established themselves as probably almost certainly the second best team in this series. But I must say, I think in one sense, I want the competition to be arguably a little bit closer and more top drivers to get involved. That would be the IndyCar. In another sense, this is, you know, the premiere of motorsport in F1. And this arguably would be the best choice. So I think we will stick to this car, I must say. I think we'll stick with it for one more season. But if we did change to the IndyCar or something, then I do see the options. I'd say Skip Barber, we should change. Maybe
Yes.
Murphy qualify for next season.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. No chance I would qualify. There are some fantastic drivers with the Skip Barber, and I'm amongst the bottom of the bottom. So no way. But it would be very, very interesting for sure. We'll see. The announcement for the Pro Series is due, I think, if I'm not mistaken, after it was scheduled after the end of the World Championship. So, I mean, World Championship ends today. So an announcement should be coming in the next few days, if not weeks. We will see as, of course, Antoine trying to close the gap on Pashar is in front of him.
Of course, there will be a change to the VRS GT series. Is that what it's called? Or is
Yes.
that the official one? Yeah.
No, I know. You know, I think it's the. Oh man, you caught me off guard. I think it's the VRS World Championship or something like that. I will tell you in 30 seconds.
Whatever it is, of course, it's been a GT series for 2 seasons. It was this season, last season, and the season before. It started in 2016. And of course, that's changed to GTE. And of course, exciting news for Apex Racing UK. They will be fielding a squad. Well, they'll be qualifying for it at least. And that will be very interesting. Hopefully, we'll see a few of these drivers back in that series. So yeah, certainly keep your eyes peeled for that with more news on the Apex Racing UK Facebook page. As Antoine Higelin has a look. Not quite there, but yeah, that should be very exciting marking next season in the GTE. It's in the GTE class at least. It's been a great field in other series, and I think that's going to be incredibly competitive next year.
Yes, I think it's going to be super interesting, and if I'm not mistaken, this move to the GT will also have repercussions in other series, because no matter what, they are going to be the new reference car for the World Championship in closed wheel competition. And I think we'll also benefit from that, not only, of course, for the World Championship with the team, but one of our flagship series, the World GT Championship, will switch to GTE cars for next season. So I prefer GTE cars over GT3 cars. They are tougher, they are faster, tougher to drive, faster, better looking, I think. And so it will be, you know, we've covered on Apex Racing TV the Sim Racers for Asia GT series with Weian, with us until a few minutes ago, and it was fantastic. Those cars are amazing, and the competition is very, very close. So I am, you know, and it's also good for iRacing because a balance of performance with three cars is much easier than a balance of performance with 6 cars from wildly different time periods, because the GT3s that we have on iRacing, some of them are, I think, almost 6-7 years old. Some of them are very, very recent, and some of them don't run anymore, like the Z4. So it's tough to get it, you know, in a competitive balance throughout the season. The GT, only 3 cars, should be much easier.
And of course, just got 5 more laps of this race to go. Still not much changing out there. Ellis Jr. just can't get within the DRS zone of Marcus Jensen. At the moment, you can see that flap not open, and even Gergis not opening his flap, I think, down that pit straight either. So it's all just fizzling out. We had a really intense kind of 10 minutes or so on that slide from Ellis Jr. It seems to have ended his charge. But of course, we've covered since, what was the first round we covered? I don't think I was around for the first round we covered. Silverstone, wasn't it? So about halfway through the season. We've covered every round since then, Marco. Any races that really stand out to you as kind of your favourites from an Apex Racing UK team's perspective?
Okay, first of all, I want to say hi to Dennis in the chat. We are following the Apex cars because this is the team stream. If you want to watch the entire broadcast, you know, covering all the cars, you can do that on the main iRacing website. You will find a link. This is the team stream for Apex Racing UK and is for fantastic drivers. My favorite race was the very bittersweet one, the one in Zandvoort, where really we had a chance at bringing home that first win, and only a speeding penalty was between Peter, I think, and the race winner. And also Alex was not in that stream as well, so maybe we should keep him away more, even though, you know, in this one also we were a bit unlucky in the beginning of the race, but I think it was a good performance by Kevin and Antoine. Once again, too bad for Jamie, too bad for Peter, because I think he had the pace. But that race was very, very good, and there were a lot of great moves. And I also loved the Imola race with Apex in contention for the win until, I think, the final 3-4 laps. So it was, I think those 2 rounds were 2 weeks apart from each other. So those were that was a moment of particular form, and I have to say that form has been carried more or less throughout the entire season from Apex Racing UK, because like you said, clearly the second best team in the championship. Yes, there is Gregor, who is first of all not here today, so I think he gave up on the championship after Spa. And second, I mean, Gregor and Team Redline, historic team, but I mean, it's only him basically, no? So speaking in a team perspective, Apex has clearly established themselves as the second force, and of course this doesn't mean they have to stop here. I think this will also push the guys to get better and better, and maybe next season get to one step higher.
Yeah, of course, it's that win which has eluded us. Of course, we didn't cover the Monza race. That was arguably the one that got away. Also, of course, Zandvoort, like you mentioned, in Monza, yeah, 8 laps away from. It was, I think you were right, actually, 3 or 4 laps away from a race victory for the Quanta drivers. Finally got Peter. Also, I think Peter got 4 consecutive 3rd places earlier on in the season. I think it was something like Watkins, maybe Silverstone, Imola and Zandvoort. I think he got 4 consecutive third places. And of course, he also got second at Indianapolis as well, which was very impressive, pulling off the one-stopper. So plenty of highlights through this season, but it's difficult to get a race victory from the likes of Martin Conke, Mitchell de Jong. Of course, we should also count in Mac Backham as well, and of course, Gregor Hootsie. Those 4 drivers getting a couple of wins each across the season, being very impressive. But certainly Apex Racing UK have been ever so close to taking home a couple of races this season. But I think next season, if we stick with this car, of course, I think certainly a race win would be very, very possible.
3 laps left, almost 2 laps, because Martin Kroenke is about to start lap 55 out of 56.
And of course, we should just say a quick word, you know, well done to Martin for seemingly sealing up this championship. I think Mitchell had to win this race with Martin not finishing. Would be the only chance, but he's been absolutely superb this season. I don't think he'd disagree. Maybe he hasn't driven as well as he did last season when he, of course, he won every single round. But I think he's had other stuff, hasn't been able to quite be able to commit as much time. But when he has been able to commit as much time, he's been absolutely dominant, and no driver's got even close to him, as shown today. It shows that he's a level above every other driver right now in iRacing.
Yeah, well deserved. Of course, the champion is always right in the end, no? So, you know, winning every race, it's very nice, but hardly a very easy task to repeat season after season. So, I think it was to be expected in the end to not repeat what he did last season, but in the end, in the statistics, in the record books, Kroenke champion in 2018 as well. So that's, I think, the most important thing for him. And it was another fantastic ride, and he seems to be more and more the driver to beat in this championship. He wants to keep this car for sure, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him. He seems to be quite good in it. Oh, nearly contact there between Higelin and Gergis. And if anything, Gergis not quite getting an awesome run out there. He will try to break the toe as they head down the back straight for the penultimate time. Higelin, well, he has nothing to lose. Will he go for a move? Ooh. Yes, he will go for a move into the hairpin. Antoine Higelin, is there contact between the two of them? I don't think there was. Gergis goes miles off the circuit to defend that position. But Higelin came from a long way back, made the apex still, and he's giving it his absolute all. And he might go for another move here. Maybe that was a little bit too bold, but he's put off his rival off the racing line, but couldn't get the power down. Well, he shouldn't be. We shouldn't complain that he's not trying there, Marco. That was absolutely superb there from Antoine Higelin.
No, great move there. Great character shown by Antoine, going for the move twice in a couple of corners, doing everything he can.
Oh,
and you
slow
see
down. Oh no,
slow down.
slow
No,
down.
I think he's just trying to, you know, break the draft. I think that Pash is really in trouble with his tires. This battle is not over.
Longest stint in the race for these drivers, so maybe just coming one lap short in terms of those tires being in a healthy operation zone. And of course, Ellis Jr. now a second clear. Is he a second clear though? Because it's just dipping below that. And if he can get some DRS Pash Gergis, that might be enough. Although Higelin just not quite lining up those final few S's correctly. And we've only got half a lap more of this 2018 season. Gergis is a little bit wide there. No, he's got a good exit. And time is running out for Antoine Higelin, I think. And so too for Kevin Ellis Jr. just up the road. Jamie Fluke currently running in 14th place. There's not going to be any change there, as Conke will take the checker flag and the 2018 championship. We say well done to him. And these guys have only got a few more corners to complete until they reach the checker flag.
Yeah, I think Antoine is happy with, well, not happy, but he will have to settle for 8th position in the end. Let's follow the guys that cross the start finish line. First will be Kevin Ellis Jr. Good drive from him, and he gets a nice P6 to end the season. Final corner. And he gets start finish line is there, so very, very close to the end of the lap. And it is Jamie Fluke will come home in P14 behind Joao Vaz in front of Michael Partington. So he is the third best of the one-stoppers. And of course, last but not least, I mean, sadly last in the standings, of course, is Peter Berryman. He crashed out in the very first lap of the race, was able to bring his car back to the pits, but then he got told that basically that was that for his race. Too much damage as Fluke crosses the start-finish line, and in just a few seconds, as when everyone crosses the start-finish line, we will have the results on the screen. So the championship is over. Like you said, Cronky is the new champion, or well, is the old new champion. And another season comes to an end, and a long, long winter break awaits us. But before that, I think, maybe, if the graphics help me, we have the race results. Yes, here we go.
Yes, and it's Martin Conke, like we've already said, winning the race and winning the championship. Well done to him, and of course, Coanda as well. Mac Backham, well, he stayed close, didn't he, in second place? What a great season it's been for him. Mitchell de Jong in third. Really pushed Martin right to the limit in the end. Martin Piatello, well done to him. It was a Coanda 1, 2, 3, 4. Absolute domination from them today. Marcus Jensen in fifth. Then it was Kevin S. Jr. Great drive from Kevin. Remember, he started down in 9th position. He profited from a collision amongst, it was Rogers and Osgard early on in the race. Then pulled off a superb undercut and very nearly got Jensen as well by the end. So well done to him. With Gergis in 7th. Higelin started 16th. You wouldn't have guessed it because he was up into the top 10 by about lap 5 of the race, and very nearly got Gergis across by the end. He had a lot of pace up there and a very strong end to his season after, of course, Suzuka as well, where he was very strong, was Antoine. Josh Rogers finished in 9th with Tommy Oscar, 10th. There's Stephen Michaels, Kazuki Umeshima, Yao Vaz, Jamie Fluke. Good recovery from him on the one stop. He nearly got Vaz by the end. He was only a minute behind, and considering how much damage he had at the start, that's very impressive. In 14th, there was Michael Partington in 15th, Davy DeCorps in 16th, Dion Burgess 17th, and then the retirees of one lap down was Ilfink and Philo, 2 laps down was Beda, and then the retirements Harpler, Lona, Orozco, Remniak, Williams, and of course the one that stands out to us, Peter Berryman, after a collision on the opening lap, as Coanda celebrate with their cars. And certainly should be very proud of what Apex Racing UK have delivered, though, so far, or this season, Marco. I think at the start of the season, it was maybe get a couple of podiums where we can, but certainly by the mid part of the season and going into the end of the season, it was very much how can we win races, which really shows the progress that the team has made this season.
Yes, I mean, this will be a very important off-season. Like I said, team can be proud of what they achieved. And, you know, what is important, and I think is not a problem because I know the mentality of this team. I know Alex's mentality. I am good friends with Kevin. I know that this will not be a finishing point for them. This will be a starting point for a new season, and it will be not the reason for celebration, but the base for starting and to get better and better in next season. So yeah, fantastic result, but everyone wants to win. No, that's the main goal of everyone that is racing. So use this as a building block. I know the team will do that, will not rest on their laurels. I think that's how you say that in English. And next season come back even faster, stronger, not only here, of course, but also in the GTE Championship, World Championship that is coming next season. And I think, with a good amount of experience, fast drivers, young drivers, Apex Racing UK will be a force to be reckoned with in both of these championships.
Yeah, certainly very well said. And of course, keep your eyes peeled on the Apex Racing UK Facebook page to see more updates on their. I don't know if they're doing anything else from now to the end of the season, but certainly do keep your eyes peeled. I think they're running in Neo, or is it SCO? Not quite sure. In the HPD, I know Alex certainly is. I think that's under Apex Racing UK. So keep your eyes peeled on that one. I think they're doing a couple of other stuff as well. And also, of course, keep your eyes peeled on Apex Racing TV. We sometimes get interviews at the end of this. Do you know if we're getting any interviews, Marco? Currently no one has joined us.
I don't think so, because the guys are, probably doing the interviews with the main broadcasting partner of iRacing. So I think we can begin to end the broadcast. And I want to say that it was an absolute honor to commentate on the World Championship on the team stream. If I can just hijack the broadcast for 30 seconds, I've been starting doing this in, was it in April? And I never thought that by the end of October I would have been, commentating on the World Championship and having several rounds under my belt. So it has been a very, 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 very nice experience. And I know, a bit emotional. I mean, I don't want to sound too extreme, but it was, very, very nice experience. I can't wait for next season to begin already.
Yeah, definitely. We will love to do this next season. Is it April the next season starts? I think I'm not quite sure. So I got to wait. Oh, it's a long wait, isn't it? It's like 6 months. Ugh. Well, unfortunately, we also maybe maybe we could do the qualifiers. I don't know. I don't know if that's legal or if anyone has any interest in that. Maybe that would be something to do whilst we're off. Of course, we do have many other commentaries, and certainly do keep your eyes peeled on the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel, because tomorrow we've got the iRacing Grand Prix Championship. That's round 3 of the season. And that will be at Circuit of the Americas as well. That'll be a 66% distant race, so about an hour long. So watch that one. We should usually get good turnouts, viewer turnouts for that one. And then also BSR Porsche tomorrow. It's been a fantastic championship in that series, so do not miss it. It's been absolutely awesome racing. If you want close racing, certainly do watch that series. And the showdown in the BSR2C will be starting again on Thursday as well. That will be the first round of the showdown. Absolutely crucial for those drivers. But for now, from me and from Marco, and I think pretty much from this series for about 6 months' time at least, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you next time.